In order to start this activity, you will need to log onto your computer and reach your home screen. Once you have reached the home screen, you will need to access the internet by using Safari. Once Safari has successfully shown up on your computer, you will use the top search bar to search Google. Once Google has showed up on your computer, you will use the middle search bar to search Science, Kids, Plants, and Animals Game. Once you have successfully searched this topic, you will click on the first result. By clicking on the first result, it will bring you to the Science and Kids website. In order to correctly identify the game about plants and animals that you will be participating in, you will need to scroll down until you see a small blue screen located in your larger screen. In order to start this game, you will need to click OK. Let's remember that this game is specifically on plants and animals. To start this game, you will need to spot and click on 8 different living things in the picture. Let's begin. The first living thing I see in the picture is the squirrel. In order for me to identify the squirrel, I will need to move my cursor over to him and take a picture. In order for me to complete this stage, I will need to find the other 7 living things. So let's begin. I see a butterfly, a worm, a bird, an ant, a plant, flowers, and finally a tree. Once I have correctly identified all of the 8 living things, a well done screen will appear. In order to move to the next stage of the game, I will need to click OK. During this stage, I will now need to click on Sorter 1 in order to drag the living things into the right spaces to show where I found them. So in order to do this, we will need to look at this middle screen and try to remember where we located all of the 8 living things. So let's begin. We begin by clicking Sorter 1. And by clicking Sorter 1, it will bring you to this screen where we will need to drag the plants and animals into the right spaces to show where you found them. I'm going to begin with the squirrel. I remember the squirrel was on the tree, so I will move him to the empty space located next to on a tree. If I have correctly identified where I found the animal, it will stay in the empty space. If I do not correctly identify it, the animal picture will be rejected. Let me show an example. Let's say the worm was found by the swing. I got that wrong, so the picture then goes back to its original location. Let's begin and correctly identify where the rest of the living things were found. The plants were in the grass. This plant was by the seesaw. The butterfly was on a flower. The worm was in the soil. The bird was on the wall. The tree was in the woods. And finally, the ant was by the swing. Once I have successfully identified where the plants and animals were and where I located them, then a well done screen will appear. It states, "You've remembered where you spotted the plants and animals. Why not try Sorter 2? The third stage of this game is using Sorter 2. In order to get there, we will click OK. By clicking OK, it will bring you back to the screen that you just saw. In order to move to the next stage, you will need to click Sorter 2. During this stage, we will need to drag the right plants or animals into the spaces in which we think these grow into. So let's begin. We know that a seedling grows into a tree, so we will grab the tree and drag it to the empty space. If we get it correct, the picture will stay in the empty space. We know that a caterpillar grows into a butterfly, an egg leads to a bird, and finally a dandelion leads to a plant. Once we have correctly identified where the right plants and animals go into the spaces, another well done screen will appear. In order to complete the game, you will need to click OK. The last stage of the game is to use the spotter button. During this stage, you may look and gain facts about all of the plants and animals that you discovered. For instance, if I click on the microscope by the squirrel, I get a description, where it lives, what it eats, what it can be eaten by, and a fun fact. Once I have finished reading through all of the different living organisms, I can then exit off of my screen and have completed the game.